We got the opening sequence, and it's changed again. I liked the photo in the last video, and now we're back to sketches.
Well, our friend Nancy White drew us some visuals, and so we're actually going to visit her today and talk about her approach to design and use of drawings.
Right, and I don't recognize this music. You picked it up?
Yeah, I thought I'd give it a go this time. You've been doing the last couple tracks, and I like stuff from CC Mixture. They are Creative Commons licensed, and it's generally music that you're not really going to see anywhere else.
Yeah, I have no doubt of that. Okay, I guess we're just trying things every week, and we're just going to keep rolling, right?
Yep, I think it's time to go.
All right, we're live. 3, 2, 1, action.
And, wow, we made it to week 3.
We've made it to week 3, and people are participating. It's actually building momentum. I think people are doing really cool stuff. It's been really fun.
There were a lot of really great blog posts this week, so people are writing, and I've definitely seen a lot more visuals and images going into people's posts.
Yeah, and it's kind of going to be time where maybe we can put a little more emphasis into making our stuff look pretty. So
that's right.
So you somehow have looped Nancy White into the how did you do that, and what's going to happen? So yeah, this week they're going to be doing drawing for us.
Oh, it's pretty exciting, but they actually did pretty good last week with their pictures.
Yeah, they are coming along a little bit. They keep talking about this Nancy White. But we've only got 2 chairs set up, so what are we going to do with the 3rd chair?
I don't know. She must be an imaginary friend.
Okay, so I guess they've planned this out as well as they normally do.
Yeah, but things did go smooth this week. Saw a lot more. I've been checking the logs and a lot more blog posts coming in.
Yeah, people are definitely stepping up, and there's been good turnouts at our drop-in sessions, which is awesome. So people are making progress. And it pains me to admit it, but actually in their recording this week, they actually did cover this week's activities. So baby steps. These guys are coming along a little bit.
Pretty good. And I noticed that you threw a bunch of new plugins on the server, and we got a bunch of new themes for them to use.
Yeah, we're slowly building those out, and some of the new themes on the server are actually quite a bit easier to use than the ones we started with. So hopefully, as people build out their sites and start making them look good, they'll have that to look at. So yeah, no, I think we're moving out a little bit. I think it's looking out all right.
Well, she's an expert, and she's just such a great person with facilitating and communication and discussion. So I thought we should have a real conversation with her about design.
The total coup to get her. So when's she coming?
Well, she's not coming here exactly. We're going to visit her.
Yeah, well, we don't have the time to go to Seattle, man.
Well, we don't have to go to Seattle. She mailed us this special pad of paper. And I don't understand this, but she said all we need to do is write our names on this door that she has here, what? And something will happen. We have to trust her because she's Nancy White.
It's Nancy White, but
all right.
This sounds a little bit Mr. Rogers right. Seattle woo to me.
Now you write your name, I'll write my name. Does that work? Okay.
Each on the same door or on our own doors?
No, right here on this door.
Okay.
Whoa, what's happening, man?
I haven't felt like this since I saw Pink.
I can't see!
What's going on, man?
Brian, where are we?
What are you doing to us, man?
We just drew on the door!
What?
Hey, I'm getting some interference on channel 3. Can you check that out?
Yeah, I'll see if I can clean that up.
Maybe pump up the monitor a little bit?
Okay. What's going on here? This is weird. Huh. What's the camera?
Yeah, that's weird. Look, where are they?
I don't know. And what's going on audio chat?
I'm getting the audio's perfect. I hear them talking.
Okay.
They're being goofy like
normal.
Sounds
weird, but it's you're right. They are. It's kind of like they were snorting markers and now they're having some sort of paranoid psychotic drug reaction. That's the only thing I can explain it.
But they're gone. Can you switch to the output stream so we can see what's going on there?
Try that.
Yeah, look, they're somewhere. I mean, they're kind of sketchy.
This makes no sense.
But everything's going good on the output.
Is everything plugged in?
Yeah. I got.
Well, why can't we see them on the set?
I don't know, but they're recording. We're getting something.
I guess we do have something coming out.
Wow,
where are we?
Welcome into the world of Nancy's brain, which is actually a very scary place.
It's kind of two-dimensional, but, I can breathe.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
What goes on here, Nancy?
What goes on in Nancy's sketch place is trying to make meaning. Because I'm a person of actually too many words, and I get going and I talk and I talk. And sometimes there's no space there for actually getting clear.
So what happens to your brain when you sketch?
When my pen hits a stylus or a paper, it triggers something different in my brain so that I slow down, which for me is really important because sometimes I'm just going too fast. So that place in my brain is hopefully the place of meaning making.
And Nancy, what does design mean to you?
Well, I think I have to go back away from the paper and the pen and talk about what design is in probably the bulk of my work, which is group process, which is, how do you design a space and process and an environment where people can get done what they need to do, bringing themselves as fully as possible. So for me, if I'm going to publish something online or I'm going to design something as a product, that sense of how I design for process comes right into play. And it starts with thinking about, imagine it's 2 days after the meeting. What will have happened? What are people thinking? What are people feeling? What are people doing?
And what does design mean when it's on the web?
So when I think about designing for something on the web, so designing a course environment or designing a piece of content or designing a tool that people can use, I want to think in that same way. What happens afterwards? What has changed? How has someone changed or what they're doing changed? Because otherwise, why do it? So for me, design comes from that purpose. The second part of design comes from engagement along the way. So if I just see a piece of text, it tingles something in my brain. If I see a text and an image, the tingles go in two places. And I'm sure there's brain science behind it, but I'm not going to go there, okay? I'm talking from experience over, too many years of practice. Design is about engaging all the senses of the people or engaging people between each other. So if I put a picture of one person, it will stimulate something different than if I put a picture of two people talking to each other. Design from a web perspective is about how do I communicate and how do I engage for that end purpose. Does that make any sense?
How can we get over their aversion to the expressions I have, like I can't draw?
Just shortly after we met at a Northern Voice many, many years ago now, and I did a workshop which was stop typing and start drawing on walls, a way to enliven your blogging. And this was, back in the first heyday of blogging. I understand now we're coming into the second heyday of blogging, or blog-daying, or hey-dogging, or something. Hey-dogging. I don't know. Which was that when you stop, if you're very good at typing and words, if you take and move to a different medium, it will stimulate your thinking differently. So you don't have to know how to draw pretty. Now, if you look at any of my drawings, you will see I don't draw pretty. I mean, sometimes I can make my drawings prettier by adding color or line, but in fact, they're representational sketches. And there's this exercise called Drawing Together. If you go to liberatingstructures.com and in the menu look up Drawing Together, they offer that there's 5 universal shapes. Now let me see if I can remember them. The star, the triangle, the square, the spiral, and of course I can't remember the 5th one. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And what they ask you to do is to think of something and then draw it using only those shapes. And what happens is when you simplify down, when you give yourself some constraints, you free up that ability you have to represent something that most of us have had since childhood. And, I've worked with hundreds of people teaching them how to do graphic facilitation in basic graphic work. And I would say 1 out of 100 simply can't do that.
What kind of props do you use to get people to draw?
So let's say we're in a workshop about increasing yields of a type of maize in Zambia. What does the community look like after the maize varieties have been adopted? And people start drawing, well-fed children, or people putting money in their savings, or people, fixing their houses back up, or people being able to put money together for a piece of equipment in the community. And all those things are drawn with those 5 shapes. What that does in that process is it kind of gets those intellectual people out of their intellectual space, because I work with a lot of researchers who are really smart, and it's really hard to be vulnerable when you're really smart. And it's really hard to be open to asking for help or input of other people when you're really smart. This puts us all on the same plane. And so I look at your little funny little picture and I go like, what what's that? So it's like getting out of our ruts. And that's where interesting things happen, whether it's in education or international development or developing a recipe for a new kind of chocolate cookie. It's getting out of our ruts.
What's a good way to practice these skills?
Well, I'll go back to something I learned from you years ago, which is the picture a day exercise. If you have a sketchbook and you sketch one thing a day, you may be interested in icons that represent things. So what is an icon for learning, or what is an icon for exploration, or what is an icon for slowing down? And each day you give yourself a word and draw an icon with it, and keep a little notebook. So give me a word right now.
How about hunger?
Okay, so hunger. Okay, give me another one.
Try traffic.
Traffic. Okay, give me one more.
Throw in fish.
Okay, so if my exercise next week is to take those 3 words and riff on them every day and actually draw them, that's the first part of the practice. The second part of the practice is to go to a search engine and use the visual search and look how other people have expressed those things. So you expand your repertoire out of your experience. You know, I'm still stuck in the stick figure age, so when I went to star people, that was a huge leap for me. But seeing what other people do increases my repertoire. The third thing is to be brave and show your picture to somebody else, whether that's on your blog or on your Twitter stream or on your Facebook or to the person who happens to be in your face-to-face life. Maybe, each share the same word each day. And then the next time you're writing a piece, think about the key words of that piece. Think about maybe there's a metaphor involved in that piece. Try sketching it out. Now, this doesn't mean you have to use a sketch in your work, but you may open up your thinking in a different way, express yourself in a different way that makes it more powerful. And you may choose to put in a picture that expresses it, a photograph or something you find under Creative Commons on the web, or you ask a friend to draw. It doesn't have to be your stuff, but the point is you're going a little deeper into your source by getting out of your comfort zone and creating, my guess is you'll see a more powerful piece.
How can we get people to get over the worry of having unfinished or draft work out in a public portfolio?
When you frame something as a back of the napkin sketch, you've created an expectation of the viewer that this is not perfect, and therefore it's perfect. It's perfect for that context. So for me, anytime I have something that I think is not perfection, I frame it as an experiment or a work in progress, so that I'm telling my reader or my viewer or my listener or the person who's evaluating me, this is not intended as a final piece. And people are exceedingly accepting of that. So that's one way to introduce imperfection into the supposedly perfect world of a portfolio.
What should we do this week in the U Show to help people learn about design?
So one exercise to free up your drawing is an exercise called Drawing Together. The second is to draw a picture of the intended goal of what you're designing, and then have a conversation with one other person. This idea of bouncing your ideas off of each other is a very powerful design tool. So this idea that you get multiple perspectives on your design. So draw it, get some feedback from a peer, and then redraw it. And look at the difference between the first and the second and see what you see. If it's clear, that means you're really on a good track. If it's not, it means maybe I need to rethink my design.
I think you're reading my mind. I was going along that track of the iteration of the show, and that way you can sort of see your own evolution.
And for me, no design is perfect, but if I don't learn something from each time, then again, why did I invest my time in it?
Nancy, how do we get back?
Here, let me draw a door. You know Harold and the Purple Crayon? At the end of his story, it goes, and Harold was getting tired, so he looked for the moon, and he drew a window around the moon, and he crawled through the window, and crawled back into his bed, and the purple crayon dropped from his hand to the floor, and he went to sleep.
So you can draw us a door to get back to TRU?
I'll give you a door.
Thanks, Nancy. It's been fun being in your 2D space.
Recover from this episode, dude.
Wow, I've never done anything like that
I
before.
don't even know what we did.
That was the most crazy thing we've done. And we've done some crazy stuff, Brian.
That took us somewhere.
Whew.
So, I don't know. I don't know if I can pull this together, but I guess this week we're going to kind of try to capture the spirit of that experience and share it with our You Show friends. People who've started building their spaces, we've been telling them, don't worry too much about making it look beautiful or structuring it. So presumably people have set up their space. Well, lots of people have, and gotten a few posts up and started making categories and stuff. So this week, we're going to try to think about, if people want to do portfolios, how we shape it like portfolios. And for the people who want to make their stuff look better, we might start to pay attention to themes now, I guess.
And we're going to do it bit by bit. You know, I've been talking to the guys in the back, and we know that people are really worried about, you know, trying to get these to look like a portfolio and to really feel like they got to put these things into place. But actually, they reassured me that this can all evolve over time, and towards the end, they have some really great ideas how they can sort of take the stream of a blog flow and sort of take that back from the front of the site and really put out in front the piece that people want to show. And then all this stuff that we're asking people to narrate, that might not even be in the final site. It can also be just for them. So we want people to continue just trying to blog on a regular basis about what they're doing or what they're thinking about, or just we have people just talking about interesting ideas or anecdotes that they're having, and that's great. What I really like is just that people are using images a lot more. And this week they're going to actually step it up a little bit because they're actually going to have to start editing some stuff.
Okay.
So the way this comes together, and of course you're going to have to trust us, and so we are pretty trustworthy, right? Right? Are we trustworthy?
I'd like to think so.
I trust you, Brian.
I trust you implicitly.
Yeah. I trust you. Oh no, you trust us. There we go. So don't get in a big worry because we're actually doing this in a much more compressed time frame than I know that Brian and we had years to sort of develop the way our sites
You
work.
don't get as good as we are.
Well, we are
in
pros.
A few weeks.
Yeah.
It takes years of dedicated
That's
work.
right. But you will get there faster than probably we did because we didn't have anybody to help us.
True. Yeah. So on to week 3.
Week 3, and we got Darcy Norman.
Darcy's coming.
Yay, Darcy!
That's right. Mentioned that week 1. So yeah, Darcy is going to help us out with some photo activities. He's going to be hanging out in the drop-ins, and he's going to be doing some LMS stuff at TRU too.
Right, and he's got a lot of experience to bring to ground here. So he can help with the technical and also sort of the conceptual side too, because he's working with faculty at University of Calgary on these kind of things.
He's really good at structuring things too. So I'm really interested. Like he'll probably look over what we're doing and have some really interesting feedback. So I bet you whatever we do from this point on will really benefit from his input.
Right. All right, let's go design some stuff.